So the final asset on our watch list for today is my favorite, and that is the XAUUSD, popularly known as the gold spot. And I hope innocent babies around and the gold fans, are you all around in the comment section? Let me know you are deep right there. So with that being said, let's run through the current market conditions. And in fact, we want to be seeing what is going on in this market. Well, since the beginning of the week, we've been witnessing some choppy situations currently going on, which further emphasize the level of indecision in the market, though I'm yet to have a position at this point in time. But one thing I can say here, that the upward momentum of gold prices during the Asian session appears to have stalled a little bit, though we saw some deep buying around the 1,973 here, but it appears that we're having a limit around the 1,985, which has since been negating all attempt by the buyers to break out of this structure. Well, the potential for significant corrective movement is still very possible on this asset. That is, price could still do some retracement to the downside, but we do not know when that is going to be. My goodness, I just changed my chart right here. Sorry about that. Where is my XAUUSD again? So, like I was saying, there could be some corrective movement here, but one thing that is of concern here is the Federal Reserve dovish expectations and the increase in consensus that the central bank will maintain its current stance at the December 2023 policy meeting and likely initiate interest rate cuts in 2024. And secondly, we've seen in the last couple of days how the US Treasury bond yield has been dropping. So these are fundamentals that are likely going to be affecting the US dollar on this particular market. Now let's look at things from a technical standpoint. Let's scale up a little bit to the higher time frame. Let's see what is really going on from an holistic perspective before we delve into the details here. So what I did at the beginning of the week was to scale up into the daily time frame, and I really do not have any structure on the daily time frame except for the key level, which is situated at the 1,980 area. Now, if we look at this level since the month of March of this year, you will see how it had played a major role in determining the direction of price action. At some point, in fact, most of the time it was more of selling as soon as price gets into that area, though we had some little bit of buy opportunity at some point. I think during the month of April, stroke the month of May, we saw some buy pressure before price finally broke down that structure mid-month of May. And since the breakdown of the 1,980, you will see how that area has been known for selling pressure since that moment. Though we had some breakout here a couple of weeks ago, but it didn't last long as price dropped further again below the 1,980, and we took advantage of that move as well. And then as at last week's trading session following the bullish impulsive move, we saw price action got back into the 1,980 and closed at that same spot. Now, it's very important we hold this level as a crucial spot, as whatever happens here is going to be determining what our next line of action will be. So the question going into the new week is, will price break out of the 1,980? How are we going to be seeing some buy pressure again, making that level a platform for new highs? Or are there chances that price would drop back below the 1,980? And in fact, if price drop below the 1,980 this week, it's going to be back into the seller's territory, and we shall be looking out for selling opportunities. Now let's scale down into the 4 hours time frame, where I was able to identify a trading setup. Now look at the structure we have here on the 4 hours time frame. I was able to identify a descending channel after connecting the series of lower highs since the beginning of this month, as you will see here, giving us the resistant line of the descending channel. And then when we connect the series of lower lows, we have the support line of that descending channel. And what makes this interesting is how price action came back into the resistance line of that descending channel, and then we saw a little bit of consolidation phase where price was oscillating between the 1992 and the 1980, which shares a beautiful confluence with the resistance line of that descending channel. Now this makes this area a very crucial point in this particular market. Now, if we go to the past here, you see price broke down the structure around this area. And if price can stay below the 1980, I want to be looking out for selling opportunities. So with this information we have gathered here, if price will stay below the 1980, we might be looking at a TP target at the support line here, which will be dovetailing to a minimum of 500 pips to catch if price does that move. However, if price climbs back above the 1980 and we begin to see some buy pressure here, then we can be looking out for buying opportunity, and a further breakout of the 1992 will welcome more buying opportunities. Now let's scale down into the 1 hour time frame so that we can see how participants in the market has been reacting to this crucial juncture since the beginning of this week. Now, if we scale down into the 1 hour time frame, we'll begin to see things more clearly. As you will see, price has been trading just right around the 1980 area, which further emphasizes the importance of the structure. Now, on the 4 hours time frame, I have a couple of ascending trend lines. Of course, since last week trading session, we have been buying this asset, giving us a beautiful ascending trend line to work with. And you know how we use our ascending trend lines in this community. As long as price remains above the ascending trend line, we continue to look out for patterns and structures that supports the idea of buying that asset. Now, in addition to the ascending trend line, you will see that since the beginning of this week, price action has been confined within a range that is between the 1985 level and the $1,973.50 level to emphasize the uncertainty that is going on in the market right now. And of course, you know how we do it in this community. Whenever we identify such flat channel, we want to exercise patience and wait for price to either break out of the resistance line to give us an opportunity to buy, or the breakdown of the support line here to give us an opportunity to sell. Now, one interesting thing about this whole structure is that, remember I said on the higher time frame that if price remains below the 1980, we want to be looking out for selling opportunities. But right here on the 1 hour time frame, it's clear that price action is within a range at this point. So I want to look out for more confirmations, and so in that regard, I'm looking at the breakdown of the $1,973.50 level as an opportunity to look out for selling opportunity. And what this simply means is that if price will break down the $1,973.50 level, price would also have broken down the ascending trend line we marked out here, which would be the first time price will be breaking down that trend line since last week's trading session, hereby giving us a signal that the trend line may no longer have the capacity to continue to negate the bearish attempt. So I'm looking out for selling opportunity at the breakdown of the ascending trend line and the $1,973.50 level. And in fact, if price action will do some retest of structure in our lower time frame, it will further confirm the strength of the sellers at this point in time. However, in as much as the potentials of sellers are looking very valid here, we cannot ignore the potentials the buyers have. Remember, since last week's trading session, the momentum for buyers has been very, very strong, and before they can give up, it might take quite some significant signal before that could happen. So for me personally, I still hold on, I still keep the idea of buying opportunity open on this asset. And in fact, I will be looking forward to the breakout of the 1985 level to capitalize on an uptrend move at this point in time. And in fact, some people might buy right away at the 1980, but I would like some confirmations to happen. Give me some enough room. And in fact, if a breakout can happen and price retraces maybe back into the 1980, I begin to see some reversal setups. I could consider adding more buy positions to my existing trade, but I will need 1985 to be broken to make me feel comfortable in joining any buy positions on this particular asset. So basically for today, our center of focus is simple, just right within the 1985 and the $1,973.50 level. We are depending on the direction the breakout happens will give us an insight into where price is likely going to be going, at least for the first half of this week. So these are my views here on the XAUUSD. So you do want to be marking out these levels and the trend lines so that you can have something to reference on whenever you're about to make your independent trading decisions. So if you have any questions whatsoever at this juncture, feel free to let me know in the comment section. So as usual, I will be taking the next 10 to 15 seconds off to see if there are any questions before we round off for today's trading session.